I've done quite a few pre-made raw food reviews now, but We Feed Raw is a request that I get pretty consistently. Well, We Feed Raw was kind enough to send over some food for Matsu to taste and for me to look at. So, I'm going to give you my honest and personal take on We Feed Raw's pre-made raw food for dogs, and then go over the food's pros and cons. Alright, let's jump right into it. We Feed Raw was founded in 2009 by a passionate couple who saw the incredible benefits of feeding raw to their dogs. However, a few years later, Alyssa, the founder, passed away, but her family kept the business growing. And today, We Feed Raw has grown a lot. So, what is We Feed Raw's food like? We Feed Raw offers 6 proteins: beef, lamb, venison, duck, turkey, and chicken. I do like seeing protein variety when looking at pre-made raw food, but something just as important to me is where these animals were sourced and how they were raised. And luckily, they give that information. So it looks like the beef is grass-fed, but not grass-finished, meaning that they were also fed a grain-based diet, and they were sourced from a farm in the US. The chicken, turkey, and duck are conventionally raised and were sourced from a farm in the US as well. The lamb and venison, however, are grass-fed and grass-finished and are sourced from farms in New Zealand. Okay, now that we know this, let's talk about who can eat this food. Is it only for adult dogs, or is it formulated for puppies too? Some pre-made raw food is balanced for adult dogs only, but We Feed Raw's formulas are balanced for all life stages. While I think this is fine, I do like seeing specially formulated food for growth and development, since adult and puppy nutrient needs are a bit different. However, they do state that their food is formulated by a PhD animal nutritionist, and the claim all life stages means the food is meeting AAFCO's nutrient requirements for both puppies and adults. We Feed Raw is also very adamant on keeping their food safe for owners to handle. So as the food is being made, they put it through something called cold pressure or high pressure processing. So instead of applying heat to kill potentially harmful bacteria, they use high water pressure, which keeps the meat raw. There's actually a common debate among raw feeders when it comes to high pressure processing, but that's opening a big can of worms. While I personally would prefer raw meats in its most natural state, I'm still happy to feed pre-made raw that's gone through this process. So what's it like ordering We Feed Raw's food? Well, you have 2 options. You can buy different formulas in bulk, or you can create a custom meal plan. For beginners, I think creating a meal plan would be a lot easier. Not only can you see how much food your dog should eat daily, but it also shows how much you'll be spending weekly. Then, every 6 weeks, you'll get a new box of raw food delivered. Okay, like me, I'm sure many of you are curious about the actual ingredients of the food. So, what better way to review each recipe than to let Matsu review them along the way? Let's start with the ruminant animal proteins, beef, venison, and lamb. Which one will Matsu pick? It looks like Matsu's first pick is beef, so let's take a look at the ingredients. The main ingredients are beef neck with bone, heart, liver, and kidney. And when it comes to Pmr ratios, all of the recipes that We Feed Raw offer are 80% muscle meat, 10% bone, and 10% secreting organ meats. If you're not familiar with these ratios, these are the common ratios used to replicate the body structure of a prey animal that canines would catch in the wild. Now, these parts on their own won't provide every single nutrient your dog needs, so to add in missing nutrients, there's also a formulated premix of synthetic nutrients. We'll talk about this a little later. As of this video, per pound, the beef recipe comes out to about $6.60. Okay, Matsu, what's next? It looks like lamb. The ingredients for this recipe are lamb meat, but then the remaining ingredients are beef heart, liver, kidney, neck with bone, and the vitamin and mineral premix. This is where the recipe caught me off guard a little. Since the muscle meat takes up 80% of the recipe, lamb makes up most of the food. But I was hoping to see lamb heart, liver, kidney, and bone as well. I understand that sourcing these could make the recipe much more expensive, but for owners who have dogs with a beef intolerance, this could be a problem if they don't look at the ingredients. As of this video, per pound, the lamb recipe is about $7.60. Alright, the last protein out of the ruminant animals is venison. Like the lamb recipe, the muscle meat portion is venison meat, but beef parts take up the remaining recipe. Now, because venison is an expensive protein to source, as of this video, per pound, the venison recipe is about $10. Alright, on to the poultry recipes. Out of duck, turkey, and chicken, which is Matsu's first pick? It looks like it's turkey. The ingredients are turkey gizzards, tails, wings, liver, and their premix. It doesn't look like there's any turkey muscle meat, so the 80% muscle meat must come from the gizzards and the meat on the tails and wings. Now, in poultry blends, it's almost impossible to get large amounts of secreting organs like spleen or kidney. So liver is taking up the whole 10% secreting organ meat percentage. As of this video, per pound, the turkey recipe is about $7.60. Matsu's next pick is one of the common and cheaper proteins, chicken, with the recipe being made up of chicken hearts, back, leg quarters, liver, and the nutrient premix. Like the turkey recipe, the muscle meat portion seems to come from the hearts and meat on the legs and back. Being one of the cheapest proteins, currently the chicken recipe is about $6.60 per pound. And then there's duck, and this one's a little different. So it looks like they do include plain duck meat, but they don't include duck gizzards, heart, or liver. Instead, they use turkey parts. I also noticed there isn't a meaty bone in the ingredients list, but their FAQ does say that they do use duck bones in the duck formula. Like the turkey recipe, at this time, the duck recipe is around $7.60 per pound. Well, obviously Matsu loved every formula that We Feed Raw has to offer, but what do I think? First, the pros. We Feed Raw seems to be pretty transparent with where they source their meats and how the animals were raised and fed. And the way an animal was raised and fed before slaughter does matter when it comes to the nutrient profile. So this is critical to know. Another pro is that they have a veterinary nutritionist that formulates their recipes and is said to have 30 years of experience in raw feeding. A third pro is that they have a meal plan and subscription service, which makes things easier for owners who aren't sure how much to purchase and feed their dog. And an additional pro is that they use biodegradable insulation in their boxes, which can dissolve when put underwater. Now, the cons. The first is that synthetic nutrients may be a turnoff to some raw feeders. Now, just like cold pressure processing, synthetic nutrients aren't necessarily a bad thing, but some raw feeders would rather see whole foods used to balance a recipe rather than synthetic nutrients. The other con is that many formulas contain 2 animal proteins, which can be frustrating for owners that have a pet with a sensitivity to that protein and prefer to feed a single protein formula. Especially when some owners turn to lamb, venison, and duck when their dog has a protein intolerance to something like beef or chicken. However, for dogs who don't need to restrict proteins, 2 animals in one recipe gives your dog more variety. So other than these few cons, Matsu and I can say we really like We Feed Raw. If you'd like to try their food out as well, you can use our link in the description for a discount on your order.